Do you ever feel like your coworkers are impossible to work with? The one who interrupts in the middle of your sentence, the chatterbox who won't stop talking, the perfectionist who slows everything down, and the one who's terrified of the tiniest change. It turned out that they're not impossible, they're just different personality types. In his best-selling book, Surrounded by Idiots, Thomas Erikson breaks down personality types to four and how to work with them. Stick with me because by the end of this video, I'm not only going to show you how to recognize those different personality types, but also how to work with them so you can lead better, get more done, and feel less frustrated. Lesson 1. Recognizing the four personality type. Red is the dominant. If you want to recognize them, look for the person who's fast-paced, they're blunt, they want to cut to the chase, they're the one who interrupt, and they're the one who are super competitive. So if somebody shows up in your meeting and they hijack the meeting because they wanted the decisions to make yesterday, you know that person is red. Yellows are the influencer. They're the one who are energetic, who are super talkative, who love brainstorming, and they easily get distracted. So if you show up in a meeting and somebody comes in and within 5 minutes they come up with 10 different ideas but forget the details, they're your yellows. Greens are the steady. They're the one who are calm, they're reliable, they hate conflict, and they avoid change. So if you have someone in your team who quietly keeps the team moving forward, but the moment that you start talking about the new software rollout, they're gonna resist, that's your green. The blues are the analytical one. These are the ones who are very detailed oriented, they're cautious, they're perfectionists, and they have endless questions. So this is someone in your team who won't let go of the report until they triple check it. Now, I'm curious to know if you guessed what's my primary color, especially if you met me in person. I think it's fairly easy to figure out what my color is. Drop it in the comment if you guessed it. And also, I'm curious to know what is your color. Just remember, most of people have two colors. There are people who only have one color, so don't shy away. If you have one color, drop it in the comments. But know that you're probably gonna fall between two different colors. Now, here's the thing though. Recognizing different personality types is just step one. Let's be honest, it's not going to help you if you recognize that, oh, this person in my team that I have clashed with, they're actually perfectionists, they're a blue. It's only going to help you if you learn how to manage that perfectionism. Lesson 2, turning frustration into collaboration. Adapting to each personality type. I once had a team member who could bulldoze an entire meeting in 5 minutes flat. Some people find that person difficult, but because I'm red, very red, I knew that this person, they're not trying to be difficult or rude. The reds are just wired for speed and efficiency. If you have a red in your team, first of all, congratulations. You're so lucky. I'm just joking. But here are adaptation strategies to work better with the red in your team. First of all, get to the point. Skip the small talk. We hate the small talk. The second one is that you want to frame requests around outcome and results. You want to put the reds in the positions of leadership, given projects and ownership, so they own something and lead it end to end. And if they sound blunt, we apologize. We're not hostile. It's just for efficiency. Here is a framework to work with reds. 3x3 rule. Give them 3 clear priorities with 3 measurable outcomes. Then there's the person who can turn every meeting into a brainstorming party. Fun? Yes. But deadlines? Not really their strength. If you have a yellow in your team, here's how to work with them. First of all, you want to recognize them publicly. They love visibility and attention. You want to assign them to the roles that involve people, ideas, and creativity. That's where they really thrive. And you want to help them with delivering things timely by assigning very clear deadline to them. And you want to channel their enthusiasm into a momentum for the whole team, otherwise they're just going to get distracted. Here is the framework to work with yellows. Energy channeling. Convert brainstorm into action by assigning owners immediately. I had a green who I always said he's the glue of the team. He was working behind the team, helping the whole team to move forward. Everybody would come to me saying how amazing this person is and how much they help them. Yet the person themselves never once even told me how much they're helping everyone. But the moment I would say the word change, it was like asking this person to climb the Everest. And by the way, greens are the majority of people globally. If you have a green in your team, which especially in certain areas like tech is pretty common, here's how to work with them. You want to first of all explain change step by step. You don't want to drop a big change on people in general, but especially on greens, and overwhelm them without any prior communication, without any kind of warm up. You want to provide stability for them through routines, especially in the tasks that they're doing. You want to make sure that they know that you appreciate their reliability and how much everybody is dependent on them, but you want to recognize them privately, usually in your one-on-ones. And you want to encourage them gently through new ways of working. You don't want to just accept the fact that they don't change or they're not comfortable with change. You want to encourage them into accepting change, but you need to do that gently, which means basically in your every one-on-one, you probably end up talking a little bit about some of those changes that are coming, sending them to training if that would help. Here's the framework you would use: bridge of trust. Connect every new change to something familiar they already trust. My blue colleagues can spot a typo in a 60-page report, literally. They're brilliant, but they also could slow down the whole team with endless questions and triple checking everything. So if you have a blue in your team, here's how to work with them. First of all, when you want to talk to them and in your meetings, you want to come prepared with logic and data and facts. You want to give them time to process decisions, but also to prepare their deliverables. You want to respect their need for precisions. Don't ever make fun of that. And you want to make sure that you want to set them for success, not failure. So if you put them in positions that's in the middle of a flow and it requires urgent, quick response, you're basically creating a bottleneck. You want to put them more in the areas when they're going to be quality assurance type of roles, or they're going to be focused on research and investigation when you really need accuracy and precisions, but you don't necessarily are looking for fast-paced type of deliverables. You want to use decision ladder with blues. Move them one rung at a time. Problem, data, options, final call. So now you know how to flex your leadership style for each personality type. But what about the bigger picture? What about the lessons that cut across all 4 types? That's what we're headed next. Lesson 3, leadership beyond the 4 types. There are a few lessons that are worth mentioning. First of all, you can't assume that everyone's is just one color. First of all, people usually are a mix of 2 colors, but also people who are in the position of leadership, people who know about emotional intelligence, they're pretty good to, depending on the situation and the problem that they're facing, to change their personality type. So I, as an example, in the situations of conflict, I'm not red anymore. I usually turn to become analytical. And I've seen lots of people who are green to become red, as an example. Like, it really depends on the situation and the problem that people are facing. As a leader, no matter where you are, you want to stay very open and not just label people, oh, this person is red, this person is yellow. Depending on the meeting, the situation, you want to be identifying the personality type that might have changed just now very quickly and know how to handle that, how to adapt to that new color. Your blind spot is your bias. Naturally, humans tend to get attracted and like people who are similar to them, and personality type is not preference. So I'm a red. Naturally, I would really like someone in an interview, as an example, who sounds like a red personality. But imagine if I hired everyone in my team as red personality type, or if someone's hiring all the green or the blue. That's not a balanced team. There's gonna be so much blind spot in that team. So when it comes to the hiring, especially, you wanna make sure to bring other people also in the interviews, or at the very least, be very mindful about your biases that you would have towards someone who talks very aligned with your style. That same thing goes when it comes to performance reviews and when it comes to promotions. And I especially feel bad for the greens, because they're usually the ones who do so much, but just because the fact that they don't present everything and they're not always in your face, we might as leaders forget them if we don't intentionally pay attention to everything that they're doing for the team. So you want to be really mindful of your bias. You might say, I'm the boss. Why should I adapt to people in my team? You're right, you don't have to. But good leaders, people who want to move up and become executives and become influential, adapt to different styles. Adaptability is equal to influence. So if you are seeking influence and you want to impact, those are all the things that requires you to be adaptable to different personality types, to different situations. Really, you can't be rigid. I'm red, this is who I am, take it or leave it. That's not how it works with leadership. You have to be really changed depending on the situation, fit into different colors, adjust and adapt to be successful for yourself and for your team. And the last thing that I want to mention is that conflict is not a failure. I often see people, they avoid conflict, and we might feel that if we go to a meeting and everybody's aligned and happy, and they all say, yeah, this is such a great idea, let's move forward, that's great. That's actually not great. If you keep going to meetings and everyone in your team are aligned and no one's raising concern or questions, then it sounds like you might be a yes sir, yes ma'am type of leaders. You want to have meetings, you want to have an environment when you create safety for the team to be able to raise their concerns, to be able to disagree with each other, of course, in a respectful and a healthy way. But if you don't have those disagreements, you want to miss gaps, you want to miss risk, and that's going to hurt everyone down the road. Now, here's my challenge to you. Think about one person in your team that you usually clash with, and now try to recognize their color. And from the list of action items and frameworks that we've worked through, pick just one of them and try with that person this week. I promise you that's going to shift the dynamic. And if you want to take this one step further and learn more about negotiation skills, watch my next video on Chris's boss Never Split the Difference, when it's packed with tactics on how to run smoother and more effective team meetings.